listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, K-Man? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
And welcome. Thanks very, very much for joining us as we invite you to be a part of our discussion here on Thursday's edition of Talk Today. And please stay tuned.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard. And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio K-Man Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. They say the reason why you should stay in school, not just to graduate, but not just get promotion, but you learn. Well, I'm going to treat each day as if it's a learning opportunity. And with the good company of Dr. Livingston Smith, I guess the students, like the faculty at UCCI, not just teach, not just learn, but interact and engage. And maybe by extension, the wider public can do the same. So welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here.
It's a good place to be, huh?
Indeed.
And really came on not too bad either.
and to bring some really refreshing news about something great.
That's the nature of life, right? Whether it's collaboration, cooperation, whether it's a partnership of sorts. Mm-hmm. And this notion that, to whom much is given, much is required. But if you can join hands and hearts, you can achieve much. And to see our academic institutions sort of melding together, not competitively, but cooperatively. Yes. The immediate benefit, students, but a wider community. And to me, that's just indicative of growth, progress, maturity. One day I'll get there.
Yeah. And the fact that I'm sitting here with Dr. Brendan Lee from St. Matthew's University is exactly what you just mentioned a while ago. Yeah. And I'm sure you're going to say a few things, but Dwayne,
yes, sir.
What these two schools have done, we have come together to say we want to ensure that persons who leave high school, they have medicine in mind. Mm-hmm. They can come to UCCI, do our associate degree in the sciences, the pre-med part of it, the pre-med program. And once they score 2.6 and above, they can matriculate to St. Matthew's to do either medicine or veterinary sciences. Yeah. And that's what we're going to explore today, the significance of that and the fact that these two schools are really trying to ensure that the pathway for our young people who have medicine in mind.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Lee, welcome. And, initially, welcome. Please share with us as you wish, because education for me is not just a passion. It's not just a pillar in a society. It is something that as a people should be a natural acquisition, an inquisitive mind, but something that we do just by doing. We learn, we give, we share.
Indeed. Thank you very much for having us today, and good afternoon to the listeners as well. So, it's often said that education is the doorway to success. And it is something that sometimes we overlook it. Yeah. And truthfully, you never stop learning. Yeah. No matter how old you are, you never stop learning. So we're quite happy that we've had this opportunity to develop this relationship, this partnership with UCCI that provides a straightforward, seamless pathway for local students to progress from high school through UCCI and then into a professional medical or veterinary medical program.
Mm. And as we get into it, maybe the community, I would recognize that students in the region and internationally will see this and go, oh, this is another avenue. But sometimes we are so close to the fire and never appreciate this warmth or this glow. Just the embers are right there. We see it, we take it for granted. Hopefully us who are here can see this. I say that to share that the universities across the globe that we look at, and hold in high esteem, that's been there for centuries. London University in Sweden, for instance, we look at that. There was a time when, they were thought by somebody, and then centuries later, wow, they held in this. But you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, indeed. It all starts somewhere. And, it's funny enough because this is sort of a result of Rotary. Because both myself and Dr. Robertson are Rotarians. And we sat together at a meeting and we actually started talking about the possibilities. And it's just quite, positive, and we're quite happy that with less than a year is borne fruit.
I only smile because I'm so glad you shared that. I want us as a community. My friends would tell you, two friends. It's about building bridges. People talk about different things, and it's the connections, not leveraging, it's not networking. Sometimes those things have negative connotations, but a bridge connects you. And if people, Rotary and other service clubs, are together, they're there because they want to do something positive and impact the community in a very, very meaningful way.
Indeed.
Two individuals may not otherwise connect, but for something. And here are, in many cases, competitors. No, not
necessarily at all.
They're complementary entities.
Indeed. And if I were to expound on some other features of this partnership, right? As Dr. Lee just mentioned, you're in high school here, for example, you want to be a medical doctor, or you want to treat your one of your dogs, your veterinary scientist. You can make sure you're qualified to enter UCCI, work hard from there, and you come into UCCI, do our associate program, and then you can matriculate to St. Matthews.
Right.
And I was quite impressed with St. Matthews in a number of ways. For example, persons who sit the veterinary examination, very, very high pass rate. All right. And in their medical program, you can start off here, do your 2 years here, and they have sometimes 100% placement in some of the best hospitals abroad. So that really is exciting for us. But the other thing to doing is that this partnership allows the qualified graduate to start medicine right here. And St. Matthews even gives a $5,000 scholarship to that successful student. So it has deep implications. That's why we're here to talk about it some more.
And I certainly want to ask about, how we enter and how is the path and the like. But something that's, you talked about matriculation. If I may use not exactly the same words, but maturity as individuals, but even as students, we blossom. In high school at 13, 14, and 15, we may not have the interest, we may not think we have the aptitude. There may be other competing interests in our lives. Sports, for instance.
Sure.
We won't talk about anything else besides that. And all of a sudden, you're 25. And it's not that you want to find something to do that's meaningful after your parents have been lamenting for decades, but you now recognize your path. That 25-year-old is perhaps much more positioned than the 15-year-old, for instance, who may have wanted to be a veterinarian. So, Dr. Lee, from that perspective.
Right. So the beauty of education, especially higher education, is that it's never too late. It's never too late. We have a wide gamut of students. We have some maybe as young as early 20s, all the way up to 60. So it is absolutely never too late to start or even change a career. One of the benefits of St. Matthews is that we see quite a few second career persons, who've started out in a different field and then suddenly decide that whatever they're currently doing is not for them. They want something different. And we offer that opportunity. So we encourage everyone to take a look at our website. You can go to stmatthews.edu and it will outline the admissions criteria. We can talk a little bit more about it a little bit later on, but anyone can take a look at it and see what opportunities are there to them.
Right. And maybe as the parent of that student, but as that prospective person who's looking either as a career change or to fulfill that thing that person may have wanted to do at some point, but life got in the way. You had to make a living.
Exactly.
Dr. Smith?
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Lee. Life throws things at you sometimes, but once you're able to be resilient, you can find a path again. All right? So to go back to the UCCI experience and why we have this partnership, this particular associate degree that we have at UCCI provides a strong foundation for persons who want to do medicine. Even though I'm talking about St. Matthew's, we have had students who go on to other universities. In fact, we have quite a few medical doctors right now practicing here who came through our program. So what this does is to give a great opportunity for young people, for anybody really, who wants to do medicine. And I'm glad I have Dr. Lee here because I wanted to ask him some more about the veterinarian aspect of things. Because aren't you also a vet doctor?
Yes, I am. I happen to hold that privilege, I would say. And for me, I actually started school quite early. I was 18 when I started vet school. So, I know there's a whole range of applicants out there. Veterinary medicine is quite similar to human medicine. And indeed, the only difference is really your patient.
Yeah, the human is much more complicated and
much
bothersome.
More complicated. They give you a lot more trouble, for sure. But it really is the same medicine. Yeah. And there are a lot of opportunities, both between human medicine and veterinary medicine. So you don't only have to be a clinician. That is the thing. You can go into academics, you can go into research, you can go into public health, which is my area. You can go into pharmaceuticals. So there's a lot of opportunities. So I don't want the listeners to think that, okay, the only options for doctors or veterinarians are to be in clinical practice.
Right.
Yes, you have to go through that initially for your training, but once you have gone through it, later on in life, you can change to a different pathway.
Indeed. So when we come back from the break, so we can, welcome your colleague as expected into the studio, and then we can continue the discussion. Please stay tuned, and then rejoin us after the break.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
A CUC energy saving tip. In the summer months, your AC can account for nearly 70% of your energy bill. Ensure that your AC is serviced every 3 months to ensure that it runs as efficiently as possible. With CUC, you've got the power.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britk. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us, and for our listeners and especially our viewers. If you look in the studio and go, well, we know the host, but the other gentleman that is much more handsome, he's just a familiar face, Dr. Livingston Smith. Together with Dr. Rennie over at St. Matthews, and join us, Dr. Smith, as we welcome Dean Hargrave. Maybe I should ask you to introduce your colleague.
I'm very pleased to do so, and I agree with you with your former statements. No, Dean Tracy Hargrave has the distinction of being the longest serving member of UCCI.
I am.
Yep. And
I was going to challenge you and say, was that back to the community college days?
It was.
When it was behind the library?
Yes.
No, not behind the library. No, not.
I know.
When I came here, I saw. So Dwayne, the other thing is that I'm supposed to be the second after Dean Tracy, but she has worked.
Yes,
she has worked really hard on the sciences. She runs sciences and math and so on UCCI, a tremendous educator. I mean, people like her math class and so on. So what she has done is to put together this program that will take persons from high school and get them ready to go to do medical sciences at St. Matthews. And so
Yes.
Well, we can joke and laugh because, if it was Professor Smith, I would be saying he's a fixture, but with you, we're much more respectful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, welcome. Always good to have you in the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, we know, just for our listeners, because of your teaching schedule and all the other commitments, at 12:45 you have to get back. So thank you for the few minutes.
Yes, thank you for letting me go. So we have developed an Associate of Science degree at UCCI with a pre-med option. So it's basically the original Associate of Science Biology Chemistry, but with an extra year. So it's a 3-year, 90-credit degree, which will lead you straight into medical school at St. Matthews. It includes all the different prerequisites that you need to go to medical school. So it includes all the biology, all the chemistry, the organic chemistry. There's the anatomy and physiology, biochemistry, microbiology, various courses that you're going to need to be successful at medical school.
Okay, and certainly as you were sharing earlier that you may have, as you drove over, this partnership is a collaborative effort that it helps to ensure wider community what the students are served. For the student, and we'll ask Dr. Lee in a second just to confirm, but if a student wanted to both either do St. Matthews, choosing the veterinary, or the regular medical part for the human medicine.
Yeah, human medicine or animal medicine.
Yeah, animal medicine is much nicer and easier. We'll ask them to confirm that, but just generally, if they were looking to go off the potential the other medical schools, this would be the sort of pre-made requisites that they would need.
Yes. Some medical schools require 90 credits. Some medical schools require a whole extra degree, so a whole 4-year degree. So if anybody wants to go to other medical schools, they're going to need to look and see what the prerequisites are for that particular school.
Okay. All right. And just so you know, my signal to you was that our listeners and viewers call and say, we can't see the handsome gentleman, so could he come into the camera range? But I would say, but Dr. Lee, with that respect, whether the student, we talk about St. Matthews and we see the MOU, just for clarity, if they wanted to go to the medical part or the veterinary part with this partnership, could they choose?
Yes, so it's actually a little bit different in the sense that for the veterinary program, they only need about 60 credits. So the regular Associate of Science program is enough for the veterinary program. Whereas with the medical program, just because of accreditation and other requirements, they do require the 90 credits, so therefore they would have to do the 3-year program. But it's, as I said, even before we established this MOU, we have had the pleasure of having past UCCI students come through our program, and we have successfully back on island a number of veterinarians as well as a number of physicians who've gone through St. Matthews. So it's happy to have that. And now we have a more formalized arrangement, even more can come through.
And this is where, as I said initially, education is not just a pillar, and it's not only, the equalizer. It's that thing that empowers, right?
Yes.
So for that student who knows, she wants to do veterinary medicine, she knows she's going to come to St. Matthew's initially for whatever reason, but, balancing that work and family commitment.
Right.
If she stays at UCCI and does the 90 credit as opposed to the 60, are there any meaningful, tangible benefits that will accrue to her as she comes over to St. Matthew's?
Well, as I said, because of the seamless arrangement we have,
Yeah.
once the student is successful at UCCI, then they can matriculate straight into St. Matthew's.
Right.
So that's the beauty of this new arrangement.
Okay. And then potentially whatever credits and other things that may help her in this, hypothetical example,
Sure.
through the program.
Right.
Dr. Smith, it's only they had that when we were younger.
But I'm here listening to to us talking about it, and of course you are a St. Matthew's man, I'm a UCCI man, and just to see the diversity that UCCI offers. For example, we have many of a person leave and go to law school to do law. Business areas are many areas in business. In TVET, we are also big in TVET, and now medicine, the social sciences, social work, teacher education, and so on. So what you're seeing, Dwayne, is a university maturing into all these different ways.
Yeah.
All right. But I'm very excited about this MOU because it has tremendous implications for the country.
For the country.
Sure.
Yeah,
for the
sure,
country.
definitely.
Yeah, because one of the things as well is that students or possible applicants need to realize that this is an opportunity to change your life. It offers a professional program that you can then go on and work for yourself, which is one of the key things of being successful. And I encourage all the students. As I said, we've had many past Caymanians come through the program. I always encourage them that this is a doorway to the wider world.
Yeah.
It's not just Cayman. Yes, you can go off and qualify and come back, but I actually encourage them to spend some time overseas, get a little bit more experience, so then you can bring that experience back to the country. So then we benefit even more.
Indeed.
I want to ask a question to Dr. Lee.
Sure.
How many years do they spend when they leave Ireland in qualifying? What is that?
Right.
Like?
So it differs between the veterinary program and the medical program. So with the veterinary program, overall, in fact, both degrees are actually shorter than the traditional degrees because we run what we call an accelerated program. And the reason for that is just that the breaks are much shorter. So you only get like 2-week breaks in between the semesters, whereas other schools you do, 6 weeks or 8 weeks. And we do 3 semesters a year rather than 2. So the benefit for that is that the students get through much more quickly. So for the veterinary program, the students spend 7 semesters on Ireland, just a little bit over 2 years. And then they go off to the clinics where they do 1 year in clinics, and then they are done. Once they pass the exams, they are done. With the medical program, it's sort of a little bit of the reverse, where they spend only 5 semesters on Ireland, but then they spend another 5 semesters in clinics. And that's one of the differences between the two programs. But then after that, then they get into residency programs because, again, human medicine diverges a little bit from veterinary medicine in the sense that you have to go through a residency program before you are allowed to practice, if you will, on your own. Whereas veterinary medicine, after you completed your clinics, then you're off on your own. You can specialize if you want, but you don't have to specialize.
From that perspective, we're told as students very early on, you won't get into medicine, math and science.
Yes, you do need to.
Yeah, that intimidates many people until they realize that, we can learn that. It's not as...
Absolutely.
And we present it in a way. So talk to us about that.
We do offer it. If you come out of your GCSEs and you haven't done as well as you thought in your GCSEs, we do offer prerequisite classes. So we do offer introductory science classes. Even before you start on the degree plan, there's introductory, because some students don't do the separate sciences at high school. They're just not given the opportunity. They do integrated science. So if they have only done the integrated science, they can do introductory biology, introductory chemistry before launching into the actual program.
So for that prospective student that is now, let's say, entering high school, looking at options, but also for that student who, as Dr. Lee has shared, may have finished and is a little bit more mature, what do they need to do, recognizing this is an interest but their sciences and their math isn't where they need to get in or would want it to be.
They need to come and talk to an advisor at UCCI who will tell them all about the introductory classes that we offer, because there's no reason why somebody can't come in and start with the introductory math, the introductory biology, chemistry, physics. We offer introductory courses in all of these just so that people can get their foot in the door before they start the program.
And listening to you, I'm thinking to what my uncle always shared, mind over matter. Many of us have that preconceived notion, sometimes unfortunately drilled into us. Oh, math is this. Hey, math is just another language. It's not that hard. Just like age is just a number in the word just borrow. Math is just another class.
Oh, I've taught many people who say I haven't done math in years, and once they start again, it's like they never were away.
So, Dr. Lee, with that in mind, it's for some of us, and you shared, it doesn't matter the age, you probably knew what you wanted at an early age.
Right.
You had your calling, and at 18 you entered. But for some, they're not quite sure. They may like animals.
Right.
They volunteer, they have pets, they're kind, they're loving, but they're not yet, in their minds, convinced that they're going to make this next step. Right. What do you say to them?
So, for both of the professions, the advisable thing would be to spend some time with the practitioners to get an idea of what it entails. See if you really enjoy it. Because one of the truthful things is persons are interested in medicine, but then they realize maybe they're afraid of blood, or they're afraid of seeing a surgery done. So you will not be able to get to see the surgery done in most cases because of the requirements of a clean room, but you can spend times in the office and see the interaction between the practitioner and the patient or the client, and get an idea of whether this is for you.
Okay. We certainly want to talk more about the areas of specialty, and you even talked about policy, but recognizing that the Hargraves go back. I would like to invite you once again, not just to remind our listeners, but to share anything else. Here's an opportunity that we in this country, because it's right there, may not look at as closely as others from outside with a different lens, or we who are here may look at other places. There's a facility, there are teachers like yourself, and there's an opportunity. How do we avail ourselves? How do we value it? How do we make the most of it?
People need to understand that UCCI does offer everything that they could want, I think. I mean, if they want to do medicine, here's an opportunity to do medicine or veterinary medicine. They can go into law. We offer many degrees where people can actually take an associate degree with us and transfer if they would like to do that. So if we don't offer exactly what somebody wants to do, you can always start at UCCI before moving on. So even if you wanted to do the 2-year Associate of Science, which is the first 60 credits, then from there you can decide what you want to do from there, because it's general enough to be able to move you in any direction if that's what you want to do.
Many of us who are much more mature, I would say older, Dr. Livingston, recognize that first degree is just that. Something that you were interested in, and it gets your foot into the door,
exactly.
And they can start in philosophy or literature, end up being an MBA or engineer.
Yeah, exactly. The first 2 years are very general, so you need to just pick something that interests you, and from there you can decide.
If I could just come in here just to agree with Dean Tracy. I know somebody who did a program and then went to England to do pharmaceutical sciences. So they did 2 masters in the area and decided to work there for a while, as you mentioned, before coming back to Cayman. So it does provide a background to launch into many areas.
Well, we offer all the prerequisite courses for many different areas. So
that
you
would
can
gain
come
you
here,
admission
which would gain you admission to.
Okay. Well, we're going to take the break, and thank you for sharing with us. Certainly recognize that, like your colleagues, you have much demands. But anything you want to share once again before you?
We haven't done much publicity for the program until now, to be honest. At the pre-med at UCCI, we've only been running it since the fall, so September last year. And we've already got a reasonably good uptake on the program, even though nobody really knew that we were offering it. So I'd like to encourage people to come and have a look and see what we've got on offer.
Well, thank you. Maybe one of classes will be here in the studio.
She could come and do the math right here.
We're going to do that. But thanks for coming over.
Well, thank you.
All right, we're going to pause and take a break, and when we come back, I think we could do a song. I mean, baritone.
I will just lead it.
Yeah, we could do that. Stay tuned. I want to arrange it during the break. See us when we come back.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Do you own a 1996 to 2016 Honda vehicle? There is an ongoing urgent safety recall regarding faulty Takata airbags that can seriously injure occupants in Honda vehicles. Please go to hondacayman.com/recalls to check if your vehicle is affected. The automotive industry continues to face an unprecedented challenge in the recall and replacement of millions of Takata airbag inflators. Honda is committed to addressing the needs and concerns of our customers who are affected by this safety issue. Honda stands behind the safety and quality of our products. The protection of the drivers and passengers in Honda vehicles is our paramount concern. Please go to hondacayman.com/recalls or call us at 949-5525 to check if your vehicle is affected by this urgent Honda safety recall.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks to Dr. Lee and Dr. Smith for joining us, and not because I look across to the table and I see men, men of valor, men of character, educators, but I think in our society, we need to be our brother's keeper, and as parents, but as adults, we need to ensure that we hold each other accountable. And so whatever I share about education or generally, probably guide me, publicly or privately. I still have to ask, are we in this community, as the Tracy just shared, little publicity for the program in social science? It's only started, a few months ago. Yet a great take-up. To what extent, though, are we looking and saying, wow, there's a facility there for higher education, there's a facility there for higher education? Are we... First, Dr. Lee, to you, because of are we respecting it? Do we value it? Do we appreciate it? Do we see it? Do we access it?
We definitely don't see the interest that we would love from the local community. And part of that is partly our fault in the sense that we probably didn't do as much marketing as we could have in the past, which has changed now. We definitely put in forth a broader foot going forward. But in general, I think persons sort of shy away from things that they may think to be difficult.
Okay.
So they may think it's beyond them. You know, especially medicine and veterinary medicine. You know, we think that it's very technical and I can't do that.
Okay. Do you think it's like the scripture, a prophet is not without honor save in his own country? Potential stigma, that thing that is right here, homegrown, down the street from us, it can't be that good.
Right.
Right.
Yes. You do see that and hear that at points, but as I point out, you know, we've had graduates who've been successful worldwide.
Okay.
You know, they go away and they go on to own their own businesses, practices, become specialists.
And they go elsewhere and people don't know their history. They don't know that their grandfather's great-grandfather had a dog that ate somebody's chicken that dug up there. It's not held against
that
them.
was impetus.
Yeah. So Dr. Smith, with that in mind, is it then that potentially, you know, Scripture talks about, you know, we look at a person, we know him, but we don't value him. He has to leave his home to get, you know, the respect that he deserves. Is it then that either A, we, to compensate, are so insistent that we raise the bar up and it's become almost untenable, or B, we play to that and go, well, you know what, we reward mediocrity. You know, two ends of the pendulum, but how do we...
Well, I hope we don't do either of those. But you have a good point there, and that's why we have to do, as Dr. said a while ago, we have to keep at it to let people know that we have a very good product here. And at UCCI, we are on radio very often. We are redoubling our efforts for people to know that our students have come there. They've gone to England. I could tell you the tons of persons in England, many of them in England, doing in the USA, Canada, the Caribbean. Our credits are accepted in all the field that we do. And so just to keep at it, for persons to know that we have a very good product right here at on Island. And this MOU that we have signed with St. Matthews is another of those wonderful things, because a young person, an older person wants to do medicine, they can come to UCCI, do a program, succeed at it, and then use that to matriculate into St. Matthews. And again, I want to emphasize, I've gone on, I've looked at this university. It's a striking example of success. I want to commend what you guys are doing at St. Matthews.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
So this kind of combination is a winning combination. All right. So what I hope to happen after we have left here is for parents who have heard us, for students who have heard us, principals and so on, let persons know of this opportunity that is just for the taking.
Right.
So, Dr. Lee, with that, I know Dr. Smith and I have had these conversations. We are of the view that, like that working professional getting seconded to another region, another office, even the same, is beneficial. But the student having to do a year, semester, even add his studies overseas in another institution, it's absolutely beneficial. For our students, they're listening, they've gone to UCCI, they've now matriculated to St. Matthews, they're in the veterinary program, and they're down the road, they're thinking, well, where will I end up for those semesters? They've completed it here, they'll be placed. Where are some of those? What is that like?
Right. So, as you said, they do the clinical year overseas. Between Canada and the US, that's where we have our clinical affiliate sites. So it's up to the student afterwards, upon graduation, to do whatever they want to do. There's a lot of opportunity out there. I always encourage students to spend a little bit of time in clinical practice, see what that's like, and then start thinking about specialization. Because that is a novel opportunity. It's a very small profession. There are only a few thousand veterinarians across the world. And just as I remember this, both the human medical profession as well as the veterinary medical profession are in high demand right now worldwide. Worldwide. That's one of the benefits coming out of COVID-19, where we saw an uptake in pet ownership, because persons suddenly realized they were locked away by themselves and they wanted company. So quite a few people adopted. And also in human medicine, of course, that's a constant need. So there's quite a lot of opportunity out there. But as I keep stressing, beyond the clinical medicine, there are a lot of opportunities. You can go on, own your own business. You can go on, become an academician. You can become a researcher. So if the clinical aspect of medicine is not for you, there's still quite a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, and you can look at legislation through,
policy as well.
and
Yeah,
the like.
so that's quite big actually.
But if I might ask, that student now is, finished St. Matthews in terms of the academic, but gets the clinic. Your sites off island, they have almost a guaranteed place to get practice, to get first-hand experience.
Yes, so once it's still part of the training.
Right.
So we put you at a training site. Upon graduation now, then you have to apply for residency. If you're a human physician, you have to apply for residencies. And then if you're a veterinarian, then you can apply for employment and go straight out into the world of work. But as I said, there's so much demand out there right now, it's almost always 100% placement.
And Dr. Smith, I think sometimes we that are in a small place don't see it, back to the earlier comment, but that big fish, small pond syndrome, others coming in can go, wow, not only do I have access to a program, but once in the program, I have access to the person actually teaching. Whereas in some places, you're lucky if you're in a stadium and there's a big screen and 4 or 5 TAs who have, assistants. That is, well, for those of us who like face-to-face, that's priceless.
It is priceless. And at UCCI, we have very small classes.
Right.
And I think same thing as
St. Matthews.
That's an additional advantage that they have there. And there's quite a bit of diversity at the university.
Very much so.
And that's something that we encourage at UCCI so that, they're not missing anything much. But your point is a very good point, Dwayne. It is what we want to offer is the best right here, and then to ensure that they get the experience abroad too. In fact, just to segue to UCCI, what we're looking at in many of our programs, social work, teaching and so on, is to give the students, even though they've done their work here, that additional opportunity to go elsewhere, and that is going to deepen their experience.
Right. Well, as we get really closer to the discussion, I certainly looking forward to the continued, partnership, to the notion that, we offer in the community, but even the region, much more opportunity for education advancement.
For sure.
Any final thoughts, Dr. Lee, and then Dr.
So
Smith?
Again, I would just like to encourage, our local community to explore that opportunity to go forward into medicine, both human medicine and veterinary medicine.
Okay.
One of the things I'd like to add to what Dr. Smith had mentioned earlier, any of the students who successfully matriculate through UCCI get that $5,000 bursary. But on top of that, we actually offer a full tuition scholarship for the medical school as well as the veterinary school once a year. So right now, I think we have probably 2 or 3 Caymanians in the veterinary program, and then I think maybe 2 as well in the medical program. So we definitely encourage students to explore it. And as I said, do not think that it's beyond you.
Yeah, that's the key.
Do not think so.
I like what you're saying on that. So Dwayne, this cooperation between these 2 schools presents a milestone for medical education in the Cayman Islands. And I urge persons to come to UCCI, get registered, or prepare yourself to get registered in the program, and check out St. Matthews University, and then see the advantages that we're bringing to the society.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, as you shared, we can think of many countries or cities within some countries where, like in Cayman, where there's a bar or church at every corner, they got universities, schools of higher learning.
Right.
Cayman is almost like that. Get in there.
Yeah.
So
quite a lot of opportunities.
A lot of opportunities. All right, we're gonna pause. Go to our news. It's ready to roll. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Well,
collectively
Thank you very
or
much.
individually, in person or by phone. Please, the seat is there. Once we're talking education, you're more than welcome and always invited.
Thank you very much.
Right.
We look forward to it.
To our listeners, a special treat. We'll tell you why, because coming up next is Open Line.
Radio station. Radio Cayman is the voice of the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Ministry of Education announces the expansion of its Smart Start Early Stimulation Program to Bodden Town starting February 29th. The 17-week initiative aims to enhance 3-year-old children's readiness for school and empower families to create a nurturing home environment, which was initially introduced back in 2023 to address the need for early learning facilities in East End and North Side. Alexei Navalny's mother has said she's been shown his body, but added that the Russian authorities were pressuring her to allow a, quote, secret burial. In a video address, she said she'd been brought to a morgue where she signed a death certificate. The former opposition leader's press secretary said a medical report presented to Ms. Navalnaya stated he died of natural causes. Navalny's widow says he was killed by Russian authorities. And the state of Alabama is seeking to execute a second inmate using nitrogen gas just weeks after becoming the first in the nation to use the controversial method. The state's attorney general asked Alabama Supreme Court to set an execution date for Alan Eugene Miller, who has been on death row since 2000. He was convicted of killing 3 people in a workplace shooting. The UN has condemned the nitrogen gas method as cruel. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP. Following a successful and decorated shipping and military career, Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP, returned back to Cayman Brac. In 1953, an enterprising Captain Keith began a small retail grocery business in Watering Place. The entrepreneurial spirit he developed 20 years prior while working in the family-owned soft drink factory at Cotton Tree Bay would shine through, turning the grocery business into Tib Mart Supermarket in 1974, introducing gift stamps for purchases and pioneering self-service shopping in Cayman Brac. Keith Tibbetts was fond of saying, "They stocked everything to take you from the cradle to the grave." Captain Keith's entrepreneurial efforts stretched far, and he began landing cars by pontoons in 1955. He also owned and operated the island's first rock crusher and started commercial farming on the bluff. He then opened a gas station in 1955, served as Cayman Airways agent until 1980, and in 1975 was appointed agent with Red Carpet Airlines, part owned by his brother Linton. He also operated a sub-post office, taught local men carpentry, built 12 houses and sold them to young seamen, assembled a steel staircase and built the platform for the stratoscopic antenna for cable and wireless at Stake Bay, worked as an agent for Modern General Insurance Company, operated Skipper's Lodge Guest House, Kesson Rent-A-Car, served as an agent for Thompson Shipping Company, and owned and operated a gift shop at the Brac Reef Hotel. This was part 6 of a special Sister Islands vignette series dedicated to Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts.
I'll be back. I've got 22 more days.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. And it is going to be open line for the remainder of the show. So, if it goes to 5 o'clock, I still get paid no overtime. If it ends at 2:30, that means I was smart enough to listen to Susan say end on time. But let's take, hopefully, the first 2-minute calls. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Dwayne. Good afternoon.
And to you, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I had an appointment, so I wasn't able to call in when the guests were there, but I was trying to get Dr. Smith, was it?
Dr. Livingston Smith at UCCI, and then Dr. Brendan Lee over at St. Matthews, the veterinary aspect of it, yes?
Right, okay. I wanted to ask Dr. Smith about an update for their, whether they were going to try to bring back a legal certificate or legal studies program.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can send him an email, you know.
Yeah. I know. I have his, and I had reached out to the university, college, about my advocating for that. Dr. Smith was actually my instructor when I did the legal certificate program. It was then, what was it? Community college.
Community college, man. You remember those days?
That was very, very long ago.
Well, don't say it like that, man. Jeez.
Yeah, it was quite a long time ago.
It was indeed, yes.
Years. Yeah. But I thought I might have caught him and asked him, while I had him on the spot on air.
Okay. Well, you asked the question, he might be listening, and may choose to respond. But certainly, if you send an email, if there is nothing else that you want to say or ask, I would like to follow up on your comment, if that's okay. Whenever you're ready.
You'd like to do what?
Follow up on what you just said. I mean, I just want to put you off point.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I had something else, but let's go ahead with this first.
Good. So don't forget your other thing, okay? All right.
Okay.
What do you think? And this isn't meant in any capacity to do anything other than to ask us to continue to think and speak from a considered perspective. So a vision of mine has always been that we have a university of the Cayman Islands. And I know Mr. Roy Borden, when he was, a parliamentarian, and then as the president of UCCI, we remember when UCCI was undergoing a name change, we were deciding what it should be called.
Right.
I always thought, University of Cayman Islands, and now they say no, it has to be a university college for us before it. Didn't quite understand it, and maybe because I didn't understand or because it doesn't make sense to me. But you have a university of the Cayman Islands, and under that you have your school of business or school of law, or your college of business or your college of law. Your regular colleges within the university system. The law school then becomes part of the university system. You have your medical or nursing or whatever. What's your view on that we develop this university institution with all the different colleges, School of Engineering, and the like? I mean, how would you feel about the country making that a priority and taking whatever investment and partnership it may need with the private sector, maybe absorbing St. Matthews? I don't know. What's your view?
I really, when I read the article on social media, I applaud the efforts of the school, because I think having options for our residents is always a good thing. Some people learn differently, and some people have different affordability levels. So I think, the university college working with St. Matthews is a good thing.
No, agree.
That's what I was understanding.
Yeah, but what I mean is, sorry, just in case I wasn't
go ahead.
clear. That is I agree with you as most would. That's a good partnership. It's a good collaborative, cooperative effort. It's not competitive, it's complementary. But in our system, we have the University of the Cayman Islands, if you want to call it that, or, the Truman Borden University, because he was a champion for education, the Dwayne Ebanks University, Roy Borden University. Doesn't really matter what we call it, right?
Right.
But in that university, you have either the College of Law or the School of Law, but you have your different colleges or schools like they do in other, established universities. So the Truman Borden Law School, as aptly named, would then be part of the University of the Cayman Islands education system. And then you have your College of Business, that could be named after, say, Mr. Benson. Maybe you have, the Donovan Ebanks, School of Engineering, for instance, just different schools, right? Not to honor our people and their contributions, but to provide that added education, like you said, the options, and you elevate, the level of academia in the country by formally establishing a university. I mean, think about it. The ultimate collaborative effort on the side of the UCCI campus is the University of the West Indies, facility right in front there.
Right. So are you asking that what I think if perhaps they have two separate institutions?
No, sorry. We have one institution. So we get rid of the name UCCI and we call it UCI, University of Cayman Islands.
Right.
And in there,
University College
you
of
move the
Cayman Islands, yeah.
law school, for example, from under the office of the Attorney General, and you put it where schools tend to be in terms of under the university and within part of a university.
Right.
So,
yes.
for instance, right,
Okay.
and I think understanding a little bit about the history of the law school, Mr. Truman Borden, in his, infinite wisdom, wanted to make sure that the school got established and championed it and ensure that there was a level of control isn't the best word, but certainly, an aspect that it got more easily navigated through whatever hurdles, and to be affiliated with Liverpool University. I don't know how many people in the country understand Liverpool University is highly accredited, highly respected. Right. It's a fantastic degree, right?
Yeah.
So we have this. Are we making the most of it for the country? There was a report, for instance, not long ago, that the UK was getting from education through its university system £1 billion, right, into its economy from education. That might be a lot of money to some people, and the way politicians and governments can waste money might be enough, but
Well, I would tend to agree that that the law school could or should be removed from under the judicial system and implemented into the university system of. I mean, because it's done in just about most other jurisdictions. I mean,
right.
It's an independent academic institution, so it should fall under, and it's a government institution as that. So I agree it should.
Right,
I think it should fall under that. And in addition to that, I see potential. This is something I was advocating for. I see potential for persons to be the same as persons are allowed to come and study at St. Matthew's University, UCCI, not UCCI, ICCI. I see potential for growth and allowing persons to come to the Cayman Islands and study also, with moving the law school, to.
But isn't that interesting, right? We have, from what I gather, many of the students at the law school are students from other jurisdictions who come here, and as people see not just the tourism aspect of visiting Cayman, the work-life balance that exists in Cayman, the economic benefit. But now what if our education, our higher education, is there not only serving as potential another revenue stream for the country, not
right.
only
That's what I was thinking,
but we have this thing that serves the interests of people and academia in particular. But I don't want to belabor it. Certainly you can talk more if you want, but you had another point, and I didn't want you to forget that if you wish to share it.
Right. Yeah, no, I want to say this quickly. I was recently a student at the law school, and I can say that there's a healthy percentage of Caymanian students. There is not as much a high percentage of I would use the word loosely to say immigrant students. So I know that just because I'm advocating for more Caymanians to attend the law school, I'm advocating for more Caymanians to get into the legal field.
Of course.
I'm advocating for UCCI to bring back the legal.
There you go.
The type of legal study program.
But
I do believe it's time to move the law school from the umbrella it's under and put it under the academic system.
Exactly.
And I think it would be better. It would serve the local population better and be open for growth for other persons who want to come to the Cayman Islands to study law in that regard. One thing we have to be careful with that though is that if that happens, then I mean we look at it from one point, but if that happens also we have to be mindful of the growth in population of lawyers who are going to want to stay in the Cayman Islands, and then maybe it may not be as much room for Caymanian lawyers.
I've heard
We're
that.
almost seeing that now.
Yeah.
We're almost seeing that now, where Caymanians are feeling they don't want to go into certain areas of law because it's already saturated with persons who are non-Caymanian.
I may actually challenge you on that if you're open for discussion. But as you were sharing, I'll just ask you, when you do inquire, either directly with Dr. Livingston or whether you do it with the school, if you are amenable, please share their response with us. You asked about the instituting the legal certificate program. Share with us what they say if you can, right? That's because, like you, I think many of us listening are advocating for continued education, not just for that prospective student who's leaving high school and considering what she's going to do, but to that person who is, mid-career, who's looking at retirement and wanted to pursue something out of personal interest, right?
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
You have a second. I'll challenge you if you wish, in terms of the amount of lawyers in the Cayman society. I'll tell you what I heard shared with students a number of years ago, and up until recently. It was in relation to both law and accounting. And it was said so often by people of influence. By that, I mean educators in the secondary school and others of influence in those respective professions, suggesting that if we continue to push people into accounting and into law, we'll have those markets, those industries saturated. Now, I hope my friends and who are accountants and lawyers would take the compliment, and actually next time they'll offer up good chocolate to me. Our society cannot have too many lawyers nor accountants. Those are two professions that are like engineering and education, just greatly respected internationally and will find employment. But take the Cayman context. If more of our profession understood, or of our population understood laws and were lawyers, would we have more advocates when government is doing or not doing something, when laws are being open for public consultation, when people need something. But also, because you're a lawyer, you don't have to be called to the bar and practice before the courts. But even if you are, right, you could work in healthcare, you can work in government, you could work in hospitality. You could take that legal degree, become qualified, and register with your practicing certificate to go before the courts. But you don't have to be working there. You don't have to be working in a law firm. You could become an author.
A lot of people may not know, and I hope I don't get in trouble for calling names, but markedly, the DG is a qualified attorney. I know Mr. Walton in Customs is a qualified attorney. I think our new commissioner also has a law degree. I mean, there are quite a few notable persons that I could name that I know have law degrees, but they're not practicing attorneys.
Exactly.
And from my standpoint of view, from my the list of attorneys that I've looked at, we have a reasonable, decent size percentage of Caymanian lawyers practicing attorneys. But the thing about it is that many of those do not come into what I call the forefront areas of law, where Caymanians are definitely needed: criminal law, family law, civil law in terms of small civil litigation, personal injuries, and just the basic everyday type of law that our Caymanians need the assistance in. I mean, there are a lot of great. I don't like to use the word expat. There are a lot of great and qualified lawyers who have migrated to the Cayman Islands, and they're very hands-on and feet on the pavement, out in the field, helping the legal public. But I would love to see more Caymanians. I think it's because of the money, but I would love to see more Caymanians into the field of criminal, family, and those general areas of law that is so beneficial to our people. And the other thing that I have advocated for is for a to bridge the gap between persons who cannot afford legal services. Cayman does not have what you have. Cayman doesn't have a system of oh my gosh, what's the word again? Where lawyers will not consignment. Lawyers will take your case
on pro bono.
On a basis of if they win the case. I mean the
contingency.
Contingency, yes.
Okay. But even the pro bono aspect isn't as practiced as I understand in other jurisdictions either.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that I've advocated for is I think every attorney, especially in certain areas of the law in Cayman, should at least have one pro bono contribution. Now, I'm not talking about legal aid per se, but one pro bono contribution, even if per month or per every 2 months or something, in order to qualify to maintain their license. That's just my perspective. That in itself also would help offer services to indigents or people who can't afford legal services. In addition to that, I have been advocating for legal document preparers who will then, certified, that is, legal certified document preparers who can also, in the interest of persons who can't afford to go to a lawyer, they can go to a certified legal.
We're starting to not hear you that clearly. It's kind of crackling there. So.
Oh,
yeah.
So, no, I was saying I was also advocating for legal documents.
No, we heard that part. Well, I'm sorry. It's starting to be static and crackling, whether that's on the speaker or otherwise. Just let you know that. Yeah.
Hand across the microphone, but
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that's.
No, but thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm getting a little passionate about that. And
of course.
I may keep it till 5 o'clock talking about all that.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem.
What I wanted to say last evening, a friend of mine, we were driving from her son being at basketball. We were right at the junction of Prospect and about to enter the roundabout. Right there. Prospect where they said, there's a little Jamaican food stand there, or food stand right there at the corner of Prospect, and just before you enter the roundabout on Prospect Road. And we stopped behind a bus that stopped in front of us. This is one of those mini public transportation buses. And the driver let a passenger off right there in the middle of the road where he stopped at that junction before he was about to enter the roundabout. And it happened so suddenly. We were, I couldn't even reach into the back of my bag to grab my phone quick enough because it happened so suddenly. And of course, no one took videos or pictures, but there were 4 of us in the car who were witnesses. But again, I want to implore these bus drivers that they need to practice road safety. He had just passed a bus shelter right there, because there's a bus shelter right there. I don't know why he didn't let the lady off there, but let me tell you, he let her off right there, smack in the middle of the road, just before he was about to enter onto the roundabout. And I did file a complaint with the relevant department.
Okay. Well, thanks to that, because one of the things that I wrote it down as we come into the open line segment, between yesterday and coming on air a few minutes ago, I've had a number of people either call, text, message, or somehow share similar things. So I'm going to relay that and repeat what you shared, including people being greatly concerned that those buses in particular and other people, stopping in the roundabouts, picking up passengers, crossing by foot and bicycle. But thanks for sharing. Anything else?
They need to take heed. They need to take heed of the law, because I don't believe these bus drivers are aware of the law under which they are practicing. And the insurance companies, I'm going to say it publicly, the insurance companies should consider going up on premiums for these bus drivers, because they're being negligent, and there's a liability on the owners who have the business license for these bus drivers driving these vehicles. And the day someone gets hit or another fatality with these bus drivers, I'm sorry, government, but I think the government is not being proactive.
Yeah. But let me ask you though,
because it's serious.
Yeah. An issue of enforcement, both legal enforcement by the policing authority, but also the community, right? The social enforcement. I mean, take for instance, I would imagine that many of us saw something in relation to the operation of us who are using the roads and think, well, that can't be right, as an example to what you shared. Here's someone stopping in a roundabout to pick up or let off a passenger on a paying conveyance, where police in uniform in a marked police vehicle is obviously cognizant of this thing happening because they're either in the car in front of you or immediately next in the lane. But not to ticket, not to punish the person, but to be saying, hey, in a safe way, sensible way, don't do this, go and speak to the driver. That isn't happening. Now, is it because it's not against the law, it's just a social practice that maybe we need to correct? So therefore, I ask, instead of the legal enforcement, is there need to be another social enforcement to say this is not a sensible practice if it's not an illegal one?
Enforcement is the law, and I strongly believe, based on my observations and the feedback that I get and what I've experienced, there are many of those drivers who are not complying with the law. They probably don't even know the law of how they're supposed to operate these buses. In addition, there should be some modernization of the relevant acts that mandate these drivers. I can tell you, these drivers should have a copy of this law, because one thing I like about Cayman, when I look at the UK law, I look at the American law, the Canadian law, and Jamaican law, let me tell you, Cayman has the easiest format of law that you can find in many jurisdictions. It's so easy to read.
Right.
It's not complicated to understand.
Right.
And the judicial system, the legislation has gone completely online. Somebody can just go and Google everything else, Google the legislation, download it on your phone or your laptop or app or whatever, print it off, and read the thing.
Right. So let me ask you then.
These bus drivers have to be accountable doing, because it's getting too dangerous.
Right.
People do not want to let their children ride on the public buses because they're scared.
Right. So let me ask you,
when and it's disgusting.
right. Sorry, when you say that there needs to be modernization of that law, any particular or specific examples that you can point to as to where you think the law needs to be modernized?
I'm trying to remember right now, because I was reading the law 2 nights ago. I was going to do a show on this, but something came up
right
that evening. I didn't get to it, but there's some things that, I mean, for instance, there should be no music playing on the buses. There should be no talking. The bus drivers, there should only this junction here at Shedden Road, there should only be what they call an access, where a leeway, where one bus can pull up at these shelters at a time.
Okay.
One bus, right?
Yeah.
There should not, the bus drivers should not be listening to no music. They should not be able to be talking on their phones. I mean, this is the law that you're not supposed to be on your phones. Why doesn't it apply to the bus drivers?
But
Why are they
does it not apply?
Well, it should, but it doesn't seem like it applies.
But that means enforcement,
I see them
right?
driving all the time, listening on the phone, and there's, I can't remember certain things. I have it all written down.
Well, when you get a chance, then we can talk about it, man. Maybe a show for you. All right, thanks, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for calling. And as we go into the break, it just shows how one individual, as you know, the lady has emphasized and highlighted in many of the calls, that if we are cognizant, we're willing to do, as you know, she shares, pick up legislation, have a read, be an active, engaged participant in our society, and through observation, you know, make a note and go, should it be that way? But to her last point, as we go into the break, if she has seen, and not only, I think, because of the potential negative consequence of so doing, I don't believe she's trying to pick on those bus drivers, but the safety aspect of, you know, the occupants, including the driver, as well as the potentially infringing the law. If she's seen that, have any of us also seen it? Have any of us who are police officers responsible for enforcement seen it? And if we have, is it that we think it's no big deal? They're doing business, like the police officer, despite the policy to the contrary, is exempt from being on the cell phone. Should those drivers be likewise? Or should it be, whether it's a law or not, it's a social accepted norm that is not a practice? Again, we can't, they say, legislate for morality but can we have societal norms that we all accept? Well, maybe we don't know what that is either. Well, open line for the remaining hour. If you want to call and share your thoughts, 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp call at 925-3261. And the only how we know the phones are working if you call, and only how we know what you want to say is if you call and share. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
To keep our records up to date and to ensure seamless communication, the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan encourages you to review and update your beneficiaries and contact details, including your email and mailing addresses. You can update your contact information by logging into the member portal or by contacting us at 745-7630 or via email to admin@pensions.ky. Remember to act now to ensure we have the most current information for you. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Radio Cayman, the forum of the people. Join me, Art Connor, on For the Record on Radio Cayman. We put the tough questions to government officials, independents, and opposition members of our parliament. And from time to time, we revisit our storied past. Tune in on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Reach out to us on 949-6990 or 1-800-534-8255. WhatsApp us 925-3261 or email talktooc@gmail.com. Your voice matters.
We give you honor and praise, adoration and glory.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come on, let's praise the Lord. Come on, let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite. Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise him, praise him, praise him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us on this open line. We'll go straight to the phones and take the next call. Welcome, thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
And to you, sir, how are you?
Oh boy, thankful.
Always a good way to be, man. Always a good way to be.
Trying to enjoy myself, you know.
We have to, man. We have to.
The music and entertainment itself.
Shakespeare reminds us, if music be the food of love, he says, play on. So we should play and dance, you know, till the day is done. And as we wait for the morning sun, perhaps many of us will realize that, you know, we can indeed come undone without that heart of service and a head so, you know, grounded that we offer up our hands of help.
Right. I'm trying to get with one of those companies. That's why I've been, I don't know, maybe some people probably figured it out, but that's why I've been talking about, you know, always mentioning the names of Rihanna and Beyonce and all the girls and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of other guys that I wouldn't mind singing with, but if I could, you know, if I'm that good, you know, if I do qualify, but it's something that I love, and I try to think that I'm good at it.
Right. No, but in saying that, let me ask. I mean, sometimes, you know, say, you know, we idolize our heroes, that maybe it's best we don't meet them, but instead of, you know, looking at them in that vein, why don't we ourselves, you know, look at life and try to become that hero to somebody else? We use them as an example to gain that momentum, to encourage the discipline in us to excel.
Oh, you mean on a different level? You mean with the less skilled people?
To all of us, you know, even as much as I see people as people, it matters not to me whether they're celebrity or otherwise. If they lack humility and integrity, they don't seem to be anything that can offer up any great value to me in terms of, you know, making me a better me. What is it, you know, cut me not, do I not bleed, right? We're all flesh, blood and bone. Perhaps it should be said that it's not, as a friend reminds me, you know, his mantra is, lead me not into temptation, for I shall find it myself. You don't need somebody to lead you astray. You need somebody to keep you on the right path, to encourage and nurture, to hold you accountable, to, you know, show you a good example that if you choose, you can follow, because you now have a good example to look to, as opposed to rewarding mediocrity, as opposed to elevating people because of, you know, they're boisterous, or because they bluster, or because they're, you know, perceived to have some material wealth, but they're poor in spirit.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, you know, I mean, even it's a tricky situation when it concerns music and acting and stuff like that, because it's all performance and entertainment. But the skill, I mean, you got a lot of poorer people people who haven't made a lot of money, but they're very, very skillful. They can do pretty well. I used to go and do songwriting with, a couple of people. I wrote a couple of songs with, me and a couple other Caymanians when we were, for years.
Right.
When we were younger and stuff like that. And it did pretty well, put some music on the radio. But I'm trying to take it to a higher level. That's what I'm really saying now.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to just sit down and just do the music and don't sell the music, but have the music soul and do something that I love and try to be an inspiration at the same time. That others, because look at Bob Marley, like they say, look at Bob. Bob is when people think of Jamaica, they think of Bob Marley. You need. We got different areas of successful people. Different areas of successful people and society, and the industry, the entertainment is very important because it brings a lot for the economy.
But if you look at at Bob Marley, here is, to my mind, a legend, a man whose words, as he borrowed from notable scriptures and the like, spoke in a way that some would say prophetic. He certainly wasn't only emphatic, he had a great sense of empathy. But is it like many? He only sees his worth and value in his demise. He's not respected, revered, and otherwise, treated with that level of importance until after, his death.
Mm-hmm. That happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
But the thing that I like about music itself, and that sort of thing, is that some people didn't really expect that I would be involved in something like that, or even that I can sing. They would ask me, "Can you sing for me?"
Yeah. So true, man. Well, what you do, man, is continue to have, within your own sphere, ever-growing body of work. So whether you write it down, whether you video it, whether you just use an audio, to record what you have to say or sing, and have it there. Have a collection,
Yeah.
Don't wait for people to define you, man.
Yeah, it's artistic.
Right.
Stuff. And you as a child, you grew up. I believed in being like Bob Marley. I like a lot of the other big singers, American singers, different people from the UK. And then, it's not all about the money, but, when the product is finished, you listen to your music and say, oh, wow, man, I believe that.
A job well done, huh?
Yeah.
One of our listeners, right, sort of cut you, forgive me, one of our listeners messages to say that Beyonce just came out with a surprise brand new country album yesterday. I didn't know that. Maybe now I'll get introduced to her music. But people are people, Dre, and some. How do I put this? Yeah, man. I'll talk to me if anything else you want to say, and then we'll take the break after you share. Anything else you want to share with us?
I had dreams, like what the singer said. I had dreams of just going on the street over in other countries and just singing and coming back to Cayman and just enjoying myself on stage,
Yeah, man. Write it down, my friend. Write down your poems and your songs. Record your thoughts and ruminations of your mind. Let, whether it's today or a century from today, the great artists that we celebrate, who many have found ways to hide their wealth in their art, only found great fame and fortune many years after their deaths, right? So do your thing, man. Do your thing.
It's good for your health.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. All right, we're going to pause and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to invite the rest to call. Thank you very much, Mr. Brown, for sharing your thoughts with us. It's always good to engage, and hopefully through this discussion, we'll find common ground. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, Leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with Valley Med Pharmacy.
At Branso's Home Gallery, we believe in love at first sight, especially when it comes to closets. And we're spreading the love by offering 15% off on custom closets throughout the month of February. Let our experts design the closet you've been dreaming of, a functional space that's perfect for you. Save 15% on all custom closets this February at Brand Source Custom Closets. You dream it, we'll design it and build it. Visit Ranso's Home Gallery today for a free in-store consultation. Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-6774.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. It is Open Line as we invite you to give us a shout, share your thoughts, 949-8037 or 949-6990. Or you can WhatsApp call our 925-3261. We're happy to hear from you. You know, to the callers prior, 2 things first and foremost, as I posited to do prior to, start of the program. Now, one of our callers, Mr. James Albert Christian, had called the other day and see the power of prayer. I want to say, it's not my nature, and I'm trying hard to change that. I don't talk publicly about me and mine and, and the like. It's just not my nature. But it's good sometimes. I did share about my shoulder, and I want to say publicly, thanks to all who have done so publicly and privately. Said, they were saying a prayer for me. It's getting there. It's not there yet, but I'm prayerful that we'll get there. Certainly thanks to the physician and the great team, around me, from their scheduling assistants to making sure I get it to the physiotherapists, to the physicians themselves. We have a fantastic resource in this country, and just like the conversation earlier that highlighted the MOU between UCCI and St. Matthews, we have much that we probably don't recognize and sadly probably don't respect. We certainly don't, in any which way, in shadow and form, relate to our people as opportunities that we can make more of. So thank you again publicly for continued prayer. And if you pray for me, or if you pray for others, it was the prayer that I want. Provision and protection for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, for a sense of humility, a sense that you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and you do it to the best of your ability. 949-837, 949-6990, or WhatsApp call 925-3261, and share your thoughts with us. And there are many people who have much to say, but there is a sense of fear. Fear that they will not be able to say what they want because they say it in a public forum. Fear that people will hear it and misunderstand it. Fear that when they do say it, no matter how truthful it is, no matter how many people agree, that they, because they've said it, will be victimized, intimidated, somehow suffer some ill effect because of their personal opinion. Well, that is sad, but it's sadly the reality. So let's change that. And to the caller who was talking about the use of roundabouts, and I don't think it's the necessary highlight nor to somehow, pick on those bus drivers who convey passengers on their respective registered routes and are paid for it. It's the potential safety for the passengers getting on and off, and the passengers on the buses and the other, motoring public. We've seen that in the roundabouts, there are these things that are erected, sort of little, barricades put into the roads, and I'm told, and I believe there may have been a press release to the effect, that was done to discourage the exact same thing that we see happening that the caller shared. It's not in every roundabout, but it's there in a few, and it's not, very easy. I've seen some still, pull off and conduct their business even, within inches, as it would be, of these vertical barriers as they're there in the roundabouts. Now, it may be convenient for the person getting on or off, or for the drivers, but is it the best practice in terms of safety? Even to the extent of the placement of the bus shelters. We know that there's a community initiative on behalf of Rotary. We know in a discussion way back when on air, they shared that when they saw it, they saw the need to provide this shelter, to provide some sort of, community benefit. But there wasn't any, at that time, anything more than an ad hoc plan to put them where they thought, would be useful. And as this sort of that system evolves, we may see shelters being relocated. We may see the installation of more. But like much, we have things that transpire, and people sometimes just accept it because they don't have the desire nor the courage to say anything, or they assume, somebody else will do it. And this is where, in absence of shared values, societal norms that are not just identifiable but are subscribed to, we have people doing what they want. And with that, you may have a laissez-faire approach by government relative to certain things. You may have a conscious, willful blindness to other things. We will only be, the beneficiaries of it in the very event that that willful blindness is a good thing, but we certainly will be, those who suffer as a consequence. Take, for instance, as simple as the practice may seem, it's certainly egregious to others. But let's say you chew gum. And I share that to say that we'll take this WhatsApp call in a second. We'll say to say that there are some people who, if you know who they are, ever been in their presence, they don't like, the chewing of gum, not in their classrooms, not in their vehicles or homes, not in their presence. They may be able to tell you why, and they may say, nope, just not a practice they like. And you might find that they're somehow, so dogmatic in their view that they're unreasonable, but that's their view. But think, what if the society was such that, everybody chewed gum, and as they finished or got it to that stage they no longer wanted, they just tossed it wherever it was then and there, in the parking lot, on the sidewalks, along the streets, out the car window, on the restaurant floor, along the beaches, everywhere. Everybody did it, and they just tossed it. And you walk in, and as you toss in yours, you step in more. Now, would that be something that you want? You may say, well, that's a rather, foolish example, but that's the point. It's one that you'll remember, and as senseless as that is that a practice that we accept in other instances? Maybe it's not the chewing of gum. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's our driving habits. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Mr. Dwayne.
Hey, good to hear from you, man. Twice. And how are you?
Oh, that. Yeah, something weird, eh?
No, man. It's only weird when we don't hear from you, man. Good to hear from you. Hope it's a good day for you.
Yes, sir. You too. Bless up.
Yes. It is a good day indeed.
Yeah. Just want to say, me right. We got kind of feeling other place when it comes to this ganja thing now. You understand? Cause they never liked Bob before, but now they praising Bob.
And maybe he was a man long before his time, and only gets his respect after time passes and people finally realize that he was consistent in his messaging and he stayed fast in his beliefs in terms of societies coming together, right?
Right. Now what he was spreading all that while is coming together.
Yeah, he talked about love, man. He talked about, he lamented the way the politicians and the other criminals were destroying societies. He didn't just talk about his country or his region. He talked about world events, right? I think his works inspired many.
Right. It inspired me too. Who don't love that song, Stir It Up?
Yeah. Many of his music. Yeah. I listen to you, man. You talk, man.
Yeah, so if Jamaica and ganja can produce someone like Bob, I wonder what Cayman would produce if we had the same opportunity.
Yeah. I'll say this, right? There was a professor at UV at the Mona campus. Young, well, in my mind, unless you're like 1,000 years old, you're still young, but relatively young. And one of his students shared with us that that particular professor sadly succumbed to brain cancer. And she shared that he said in his class, he made the class know that this was back in the 80s, all right? And you talk to her today, I'm sure she'll say the same thing in the same way, perhaps even more, more insistent. He said that he believed that he got that from the smoking of herb, but he would not have, changed his life knowing, that his end was nigh. And I want to say that anything, can create ill effects on our health, but like you shared, this potentially could also be something that isn't as damaging as, say, alcohol, a drug that we somehow don't accept that is a drug.
Correct. The Bible can do the same thing. If you read it hard enough, long enough, you can get confused in where you come from.
The Bible, right? The word is a cut two-edged sword, right? Double-edged sword.
Yeah. They tell you all kind of different things that is not, not natural. You understand? And so what I try to say is, I got proof, right, that ganja heals somebody, right? Next thing is, these people that is out there saying that they're Christians, they still have a biasness into saying who can get and who not forget. You understand? Now, if you're such a good Christian, you know, or your religion is so higher than everybody else's, or so civilized than everybody else's, why you don't try to help everybody? If you know, say, um, ganja is healing people, why you not on that? The whole world almost on that. Like I said, so it must be something different within these people on this island. Because remember, you know, no matter what you want, say we surrounded by water, we segregated. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
We separated from the world. Sorry, you understand?
Yeah. We got a news to come up. You want to hang on, continue after, or you want to just make your salient points?
I'll wait. I'll try to finish. What are you trying to say?
Okay, sorry to interject that, but thank you for being amenable. To our listeners, we'll join you right after.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
With your latest headlines, I'm Dwayne Ebanks. The Ministry of Planning, Agriculture, Housing, Infrastructure, Transport and Development announces that Mr. David Dixon, Director of the Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing, has been awarded the Deputy Governor's Employee for the month of December 2023. In international news, the parents of U.S. travel blogger Gabby Petito have reached a deal with the parents of her alleged killer, whom they sued for emotional distress. Ms. Petito was strangled in 2021. Authorities blamed her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, who later shot himself. Laundrie's parents were not charged but found themselves accused in a civil case of failing to disclose that their son admitted to killing her. That case has now been resolved and a trial avoided. Both sides said details of the resolution were confidential. Scientists have worked out how some of the largest whales in the ocean produce their haunting and complex songs. Humpbacks and other baleen whales have evolved a specialized voice box that enables them to sing underwater. The discovery, published in the journal Nature, has also revealed why the noise we make in the ocean is disruptive for the ocean giant. Whale song is restricted to a narrow frequency that overlaps with the noise produced by ships and sound that is crucial for the survival of whales, because it is the only way they can find each other to mate in the ocean. That's a look at your latest headlines. I'm Dwayne Ebanks.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And as we return to the caller, hey, thank you for, holding on. And then right after you, we'll go to the other line and take the next call.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks again, man.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, we got proof, right, that ganja healing people, right? In probably this, 100 years or 70 years now, we got scientific proof then, okay? We got scientific proof that it relaxes you, takes stress away. We got proof of all that. All right. Now, to the Bible, all right? People say they pray and it heal their cancer and it heal their foot and it heal, you understand? But we don't have no proof of that, right? It's only our faith, right? So I gotta ask you something, Mr. Dean. You rather have faith in something a next confused person wrote for you, or you rather have faith in something that come from the earth, something that no man have yet to corrupt? Which one?
The interesting thing, as you ask that, is that on a personal level, I believe if you believe something strong enough, right, you can get the desired outcome. I mean, the placebo effect, for instance. But when we know something has proven, let's say, medicinal properties, as you shared, something has a proven outcome because it has been replicated over and over, maybe a particular technique to do something, we often will ignore it because for whatever reason we don't see it as being something that is, applicable to us, whether culturally or otherwise. But the question, though, as you talk specifically about,
right,
but go ahead.
Right, but and the next thing too is they try to lie to us and tell us that ganja is not a part of our culture, right?
How is it
okay, what you say?
How is ganja part of the Caymanian culture?
Okay, you see all them sailboats? You see them sails? All right, they is made out of something called, what they call it, calico or something like that. That word is coming from the Latin word of cannabis. You understand?
Okay. So
it's another word with sensimilia, all that.
Yeah. So the sailcloth then you're saying is from that.
Yeah. So without that cloth, you couldn't run from Jamaica when the revolution was going on, right? Or you couldn't come from Ireland or wherever you come from to come here without those sails, right? But they won't tell you like, oh, you came here on a spaceship, or you swam from Jamaica, or you caught a ride on a crocodile and you came from Jamaica over here. How did you get over here if it wasn't for ganja? I would like to know. I mean, did they paddle? I don't think they had the strength to paddle. So when they denying us that, right? That means that you got some other alternative in behind keeping this thing illegal and to keeping somebody like me, you understand, from acting freely in enjoying in my life this thing called capitalism or whatever you want to call it, democracy, anything you want to call it. You understand?
Right.
So this is something that we as a people need to change, and we need to remember where we come from.
Yeah.
Don't make them tell you like, well, we not come from Jamaica. We come from every part of the Caribbean drifted in here, right? And we's a part of that. Now try to steal that from us. You're taking away our culture. If we lose our culture, Mr. Dean, what happened? You can see that we don't make the tash hats or tash rope anymore, right? That was part of our culture, right? We don't sail boats no more like how we used to. We use a motor and all that because, we became modernized, all right? Why ain't nothing wrong for us keeping that? Why it is wrong for us keeping that? So if you was to bring back the ganja, you would have, I think, like what the man talking about, we would be going town in a sailboat, a catboat.
Yeah, man. All right. Hey, thanks for sharing, right?
Yeah, man. Thank you. Having a good day, man.
You too, man. Enjoy it, man. Maybe it's too early for mango season, but maybe the needs bears are in blossom, right? So talk to you soon, all right?
Yes.
All right. And we had another caller. Thank you for your patience for hanging on. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Dwayne. It's me again.
Hey, listen, I like where you picking up where someone left off because of blessed memory. She was an incredible lady who has left a lasting legacy. So thank you for calling back.
Okay. I wanted to publicly encourage, especially our government departments, to have their voicemail systems recorded in our Caymanian dialect. I mean, I've called to Jamaica, I've called to Bahamas, I've called to Barbados, different jurisdictions, especially in the Caribbean and West Indies. And they, the BVI, the U.S. Virgin Islands, I know people all over the place, but in terms of that, when you call many of their government organizations, there's always a recording in their local dialect. And I'm not trying to be anti any other dialect, but when you call, especially government organizations, which is the first representation of our country, we are trying to continue maintaining our heritage and culture. And when you call, what's the department I had in mind? Cayman Airways.
Okay.
We hear a beautiful Caymanian accent on their automated voice machine. And it's not inviting. It's not maintaining our culture. It's not marketing our local dialect and our Caymanian way of speaking, which is what people come to this country to hear, you know. And we do have well-spoken Caymanians, not people like me that that get into real old Caymanian talking, you know. That can even and as opposed to hearing an automated recording or an automated recording which is not in our local dialect,
right.
you know. So I just wanted to say that.
Right. So I just want to make sure I followed along. Are you saying not just in the Caymanian dialect and colloquialisms, but with a Caymanian just recording it in his or her natural voice, in her own accent, not putting on a twang, not trying to sound just as we would when we listen to, say, the Caribbean parliaments. It's just a beauty to listen to them, because if you're hearing the Barbadian or Trinidadian parliament, you know where you are.
Exactly.
Is that what you're sharing?
Yes, exactly, too. But like I said, when I call Cayman Airways and I hear, it's such an inviting thing. Even when I'm overseas and I call Cayman Airways, it warms me. You know, when I speak to people about wanting, and they learn I'm from the Cayman Islands, I want to go to the Cayman Islands. I don't market any other airline besides our national airlines. I say, they're the cheapest. So, you know, so I just think that's just another opportunity to market.
Okay.
The
So
Caymanian
can I then, you know, engage you only on the premise that I perceive you as, you know, a woman of intellect, certainly a woman who speaks her mind and, you know, isn't wishy-washy. You stand for what you believe, right? So on that premise. In addition to that, what do you say to when Caymanians, right, when we use and pronounce the word Cayman that doesn't sound like Cayman, or when we criticize other Caymanians? Take me for instance. I will endeavor to always write in the very best grammatically correct English that I know, and if it's improper, I miss the syntax, I did something, I'm happy, you know, for that instruction, because I would like to write it as best as I can. I do not type in the so-called text speech because I think it's just dumb. I struggle to understand what is it that the person is saying, right?
Right.
And it takes more effort for me to even try to do that. Not to say that our local parlance, colloquialisms, don't need to not only be emphasized, but they need to be embraced, because there are many words. I'll give you 2 words, right? If you're familiar with them, right? You know, fair enough, right? Now, right? And the word further. Now, why I use them is because I found that in each district, we have particular words for particular things, as we do for names of places. Look along 7 Mile Beach, right? Take the public beach. Now it's 7 Mile Beach. I know that to have been known as the public beach because it was the first designated public beach. Why we are accepting that to be renamed, and to whose benefit and to whose detriment, if any? What's your view? I mean, I'll go on increasingly, because to your point, unless and until we embrace, respect, accept who we are, our dialect, our accents, you know, the things that make us uniquely us, you know, there's some of us that I have to question, you know, at that moment of conversation, they've sounded 1 minute English, 1 minute Jamaican, 1 minute Canadian, 1 minute something else, and I'm going, but wow, this is a multi-personality person. I mean, this person could be employed, you know, with many companies at the same time, because they obviously have, you know, good skill sets.
I agree with you, Dwayne, and all that you say. You know, if we're going to talk about maintaining our culture and our Caymanian way, because that is what we have to preserve. That's what we market to sell our islands on.
Mm.
But it's fastly disappearing because on one hand, there's millions of dollars being spent to preserve and maintain this and preserve and maintain that, and they restructured the whole entire Georgetown, which was such an attractive jewel
right.
for our island, for Grand Cayman especially, and they've spent millions of dollars to entirely reface that, and we have other opportunities where we already have things in place. We don't need to change up, and we need to take advantage of those things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's where I'm saying, like,
right.
the first instance, when you call a government.
We have a WhatsApp call, right? So you keep talking, but I just want us to know that we have one. So go ahead.
Right, yes.
Mm.
So what I'm saying, you know, I was just reminded that I wanted to talk about this subject when I called a government organization just now. I want to
Yes.
where it is, but it had an automated recording in another dialect, another accent, right?
Uh-huh.
And then, you know, there's another government organization that has another automated recording. Almost sounds like a computer-generated voice in another accent. And these to me are opportunities that we can have recordings in a beautiful voice, like whoever that voice is that recorded Cayman Airways. I mean,
Miss Hope,
she's very
you're back,
well
man?
spoken. No, it's not Miss Hope.
No, still like Miss Hope.
Oh.
Very, you know, way
yes,
back when.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. And we have Miss Lana from, you know, I know Miss Lana, don't mind if I call her from Cayman, Cable Wireless.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yes, absolutely,
Yeah. Okay.
You're absolutely right. So this is what I'm saying. I'm imploring government departments, and every other organization or business, you know.
Okay, let me challenge you again, because I'm consciously making a point going forward, and you know it may become evident, it may be just being laid, but take the word, and this is something that I find increasingly, you know, interesting, because it's becoming very, 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 you know, noticeable. I'll give you 3 words, right? 2 that I've said many, many times. The word is barkas. How it's spelled, we can say it. We finally got to the good sense that it's Bosun Bay, not Boatswain, no matter how it's spelled the English or the American way, right? But, you know, for one time, our parliamentarians in particular were very publicly embarrassed because somebody told them, oh, it's Boatswain. And we believe that because it came from somebody who should know.
Right.
But they didn't. So it's barkas, just like it's Cayman. It's Bottomanu, right? But the word for the plural of person is people, not persons. And yet I'm hearing Caymanians say it, even though that is something that is mostly repeated by other nationalities. But we say that. I don't, and I refuse to. Now, it's not going to be a broken record, but as simple as that is, we're willing to ignore our parlance or colloquialisms or accents or dialect because for some reason, if we sound like somebody else. My Caribbean friends who are from their respective islands, I enjoy listening to them from their sing-song over Trinidad.
And they make it a point to highlight their accents and their countries.
As they should.
So they're not ashamed.
As they should be.
They're not ashamed everywhere they go. And I want to say quickly before you cut me off, one road that was renamed that turned me off was Fairbanks Road. That road was historically, traditionally known as Dyke Roads, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they named it Fairbanks, which is equivalent to Fairbanks Detention Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish the government would rename that road back, because I don't like that it's synonymous with. I mean, it's a decent name road, but I don't like that it's synonymous with a detention center. It was originally Dyke Roads.
When you become elected, you change it, okay?
Oh yeah.
All right.
You know what? I'll reach out to Minister J about that.
There
He's a really
you go.
approachable person.
You tell me when you go, and I'll join you. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Mom, thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. And to the other caller, we're going to just have to take this break because I think Susan and I need to get paid, so this commercial will pay us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The 2024 Cayman Arts Festival is here, celebrating 20 years of world-class performing arts in the Cayman Islands. From February 18th through March 1st, featuring 8 unique performances, a mix of Cayman and international renowned musicians. View the full lineup of events or get your tickets at www.caymanartsfestival.com. For more information, call 922-5550 or email inquiries@caymanartsfestival.com. The 2024 Cayman Arts Festival, February 18th through March 1st.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for sharing us. And we have a caller who joined us just prior to the break. So thank you too for calling and for holding on. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon to you, Sterling.
Okay, man, you're on the WhatsApp and you sound very clear. I hope you can hear us as well.
Yeah, man, you're clear. Also, I'm on the WhatsApp because I've been having challenges getting through on your direct line, man.
You and other people, man, so don't take it personal, okay? You're not special. Just kidding. No, I'm sorry. We are working on it, man. We are working on it.
I promise I didn't. That's why I called the WhatsApp.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I wanted to go. I wanted to share something. My thoughts on another program that you had the other day, and
Yes,
I'll
please.
come back to it quickly. But I'll just say to the last caller that having listened to the Cayman Airways person quite often, and I agree with her. And in fact, I expressed as much to that person who I know records their ads because the voice is also on the aircraft, and I had to tell her that. Having come from a very long trip once, getting on the Cayman Airways flight and hearing her voice was so very calming. So that's Miss Olivia Scott Ramirez, and I agree with her. We should have her voice in many different areas. She used to be working there at Radio Cayman, I think, at one point in time, right? So she's well spoken.
And she is indeed.
Yeah.
Very, very intelligent, very eloquent.
Yes, very, very much so. Sterling, I wanted to pick you up on, or I wanted to ask you about, I think it was the day that MP Saunders were on, and you had a call from, I think that gentleman that calls from overseas that used to be in our legal department. Is it Mr. Bielke? Is that who it is?
If I think I understand the gentleman you're referring to, but his name, if it is, only because he says it publicly, Mr. Belika Simamba.
Yes, that's the gentleman. And I'm sorry, and that's the only reason why I called it is because he said it before.
No, he hasn't. I don't know how I can say it because I made sure he ensured that I could correctly say it. It's not like a song, but go ahead.
Yeah, he has some great things to say, but he did say something the other day when you all were having that conversation where he said, this is how he started. To maybe jog your memory. He said when he first started working for government in Cayman, he, and of course, if he's listening, he can call and correct it. He said he discovered early that Caymanians don't run Cayman, and that bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't recall him drilling down into that thought, because I think he used that as a preamble, if you will, to go into somewhere else.
Right.
And I want to challenge that, or I want to ask what was your understanding, because it wasn't challenged by you nor MP Saunders as to exactly what was he saying when he said that.
Well,
I can assume what I think he was saying,
mm-hmm.
but you see, when we let things like that just go, it's sort of like, I remember once, I can't remember what it was exactly, but I recall you doing it quite often.
Mm-hmm.
It was a couple of years ago. You kept saying, well, I don't want to speak that because we almost bring it into existence. And also, if something is said quite often, it becomes kind of the norm and people accept it as it is. So I shared with you another time that I didn't believe that our population, Caymanian population, that is, traditional population, was as low as I heard being touted a few times. And I gave you the reasons why I thought that way. And many people would be saying, oh, we only have 10,000 or 15,000. I'd be like, where are they getting this number from? And it doesn't make sense based on the statistics, for example. But if we say it enough people will start to believe it. And that has its repercussions then in so many other things. Those who already think that they're running everything just because of their share in numbers. And so this is from that angle that I'm bringing that point about what that gentleman shared, where he talks about Caymanians are not in charge. And I'm wondering what was your understanding about why he said that, because nobody said anything.
Right. Well, to your two substantive points, let's take the first one. He said, he came to understand it early on. Do you disagree with him? He said Caymanians are not running Cayman. Do you think that's...
Yes, I do.
What you disagree?
I do disagree.
Okay, in what way?
I do disagree.
All right.
Well, I mean, we can take the very basic now. So if he... Well, let me tell you the basics that I took it that I see. I mean, the reality is that our government is formed by Caymanians, as far as I know. Our elected government, our ministers of government, our premier is Caymanian, and his cabinet is Caymanian.
And they're voted in by Caymanian voters, right?
And they're voted in by Caymanian voters. Now, we're not going to go here nor there in terms of right to vote.
No.
But they're Caymanian, and traditional Caymanian for the most part, as I know them to be. So do we understand the dynamics that ultimately we have a constitution as a British overseas territory, that we have a British governor who can directly legislate on our behalf, or certainly attempt to, because we had a challenge on that some time back. Yeah, I understand those things, but that hasn't changed. And so what was he suggesting? Is he suggesting then the behind the stage things in terms of people pulling strings with money? And is that where he was going?
Is that your assumption of, like you say, we shouldn't assume, but is that your assumption to potential where he was going?
But I've had a few days to break it down and to try to think, well, where is he coming from with that? And so that would be the only direction that I see him going.
So like you...
And again, I would still say at the end of the day, though, it's still back with those Caymanians that we put in charge.
Right. But like you, I think many would say, well, definitely it's Caymanians who are elected. It's the Caymanian voters who vote the people in office. It's the Caymanians who sit on most of the boards. We can take away immigration and planning, for instance, and the like. Right. But question to be asked. Yeah. Taking his comment, and you are right, I did not challenge him at that point, only because of the interest of time and to what Mr. Saunders was hoping to get through, which he still didn't relative to the, to that proposed piece of legislation, right?
Yeah.
But I also know that I'll have the opportunity again to have Mr. Bilika speak to many issues, right? So, but let me ask, we often hear, and I'm told with great respect, sir, we have a hard break coming up in seconds because of something scheduled in the studio. So,
no worries. Understood.
We can pick it up
we can break away and pick it up another time. I see the time is 2:29, so I believe you.
Yes,
and
sir.
I also have some other thing to talk about, but that's fine. We can leave it there and come back to it maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow, you guys will. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. All right.
Lovely.
You
lovely
too.
day, man. Bye.
You too. And my respect for Miss Susan is not only public and private, but for her professionalism. So we're going to call it today. Join Mr. Art tomorrow morning for the record. Come back for talk today after the midday news. And by then, who knows, my hair might have been curly again. Never know. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.